What if I told you the secret to turning that patch of dry, compacted, lifeless dirt into a thriving garden is probably sitting in your kitchen pantry right now? Seriously, forget the expensive fertilizers and complicated soil potions for a minute. I'm going to show you a ridiculously simple method using leftover rice that can turn your garden into an absolute paradise for earthworms and get your soil humming with life. This isn't just cheap, it's practically free, it's all natural, and it's backed by the simple logic of what makes a garden work. You're about to learn how to brew a super elixir that doesn't just feed your plants, it feeds the very foundation of your garden, the soil itself. We're going to wake up the invisible army of microbes and invite the greatest soil engineers on the planet, the earthworms, to come work for you, free of charge. Stick around, because this is a game changer. We've all seen it. That patch of ground in a raised bed, a pot, or a corner of the yard that just feels dead. The soil is hard as a rock, it's cracked, and when you dig into it, you find nothing but lifeless dirt. No earthworms, no activity, nothing. And no matter how much you water, your plants just seem to sit there, struggling. It's a huge frustration. This kind of dead soil can happen for a lot of reasons. Compaction, a lack of organic matter, or sometimes the overuse of chemical fertilizers that wiped out the delicate underground ecosystem. When your soil has no life, it can't do its job. Water either pools on top or runs right through. Nutrients stay locked up, completely useless to your plants. Most importantly, you're missing the MVPs of a healthy garden: beneficial microbes and earthworms. Without worms, your soil never gets aerated. Their constant tunneling is what keeps soil loose and easy for roots to grow through. And their castings, basically worm poop, are one of the world's best natural fertilizers, and yours has none. You can spend a fortune on compost and bottled nutrients, but if you don't fix the core issue, the lack of life, you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle. Your soil is an empty house with nobody home to do the work. So, what's the fix? It's probably something you toss out without a second thought. Rice. And not just the grains themselves, but the starchy water you get from rinsing them. In many agricultural traditions, rice byproducts have long been recognized as food, not just for people, but for the earth. What's so special about rice? It's packed with starches and carbohydrates. We gardeners get so focused on nitrogen from things like manure or compost that we forget the soil food web runs on carbon. It's the main energy source for the microbial life that makes a healthy ecosystem possible. Crushed raw rice and the cloudy water from rinsing it provide this energy in a form that microbes can feast on. This isn't just about tossing food scraps in the garden. It's about using a specific ingredient to kickstart a powerful biological chain reaction. First, you feed the bacteria and fungi. Their population boom then attracts the earthworms. Finally, the worms completely transform your soil. It's a beautiful natural cycle, and it all starts with something you already have. Let's break down the science, but keep it simple. Think of your soil as a bustling city full of billions of microscopic workers, bacteria, fungi, and other tiny organisms. Just like any crew, they need energy to do their jobs, and their favorite food is simple carbohydrates. That's where the rice comes in. When you add crushed rice or fermented rice water to your soil, you're essentially ringing a dinner bell and opening an all-you-can-eat buffet for these microbes. The starches in the rice offer a slow-release energy source. It's not a quick sugar rush like molasses that burns out fast. The complex carbs in rice break down more gradually, feeding the microbial population for weeks. This sustained energy allows them to multiply like crazy, and this sudden explosion of life is what gets the attention of the entire underground world. Now here's how the worms fit in. Earthworms don't just eat dirt. They're actually eating the microorganisms in the dirt. They follow the trail of microbial activity like a hound on a scent. When your soil suddenly becomes a hotspot of bacterial and fungal life, worms from the surrounding area are drawn to it. You're not just attracting them, you're creating their ideal habitat, encouraging them to stay, work, and even multiply. You feed the microbes attract the worms, and the worms' activity feeds your plants. Ready to try it? The process is incredibly easy and gives you two powerful products from one ingredient: a fermented rice water tea and crushed rice solids. Part 1. Gather your simple materials. You'll need 1 cup of plain uncooked white rice, about 2 to 3 cups of clean non-chlorinated water, a jar, a strainer, and something to crush the rice like a rolling pin or a mortar and pestle. It's really important to use non-chlorinated water since chlorine can harm the very microbes you're trying to help. Rainwater is great, or just let tap water sit out for 24 hours for the chlorine to evaporate. Part 2. Prepare the fermented rice water. First, let's make the liquid inoculant. Put 1 cup of rice in a bowl with 2 to 3 cups of your non-chlorinated water. Now get in there with your hands and swirl and wash the rice for a minute or 2. You want the water to get really cloudy and milky white. This starchy liquid is now full of goodness. Next, strain the rice, but hold on to that precious cloudy water. Pour it into your jar, filling it about 3/4 of the way. Cover the top loosely with a lid or a cloth. You want air to get out, but keep dust and bugs from getting in. Let it sit at room temperature and out of direct sun for 2 to 3 days. You'll know it's working when it gets a slightly sour, tangy smell, a bit like yogurt or sourdough starter. That's the smell of success. The liquid is now alive with beneficial microbes and enzymes, making it a potent soil activator. Part 3. Prepare the crushed rice. While the water is fermenting, take the rice you strained out and let it dry. Once it's dry, it's time to crush it. This is a key step. Whole rice grains might sprout or just decompose too slowly. Crushing them creates way more surface area for microbes to feast on. You're not trying to make flour, just aiming for small, broken fragments. Tossing it in a bag and going over it with a rolling pin works perfectly. Part 4. Application. Time for the magic. Now you have 2 powerful soil builders. Before using the fermented rice water, you need to dilute it. A good ratio is about 1 part fermented rice water to 4 parts clean, non-chlorinated water. Gently and evenly pour this diluted mix over the soil you want to revive. Really focus on those spots that are dry, compacted, or where you haven't seen any worms. Next, grab your crushed rice. Sprinkle about 1 cup of it per square foot of soil. Gently rake it into the top inch or 2. This gets it down where the microbes and worms can find it and also helps prevent pests from noticing it. After you've applied both, adding a light layer of mulch like shredded leaves or straw is a great final touch. It helps keep the soil moist and gives your new worm population food and shelter. This is where you get to sit back and watch nature do its thing. After you apply the fermented rice water, the microbial population in your soil can explode. Drawn by this feast, earthworms will often start migrating to the treated area. Some gardeners report seeing a big increase in worm activity in just a few days. You might see them near the surface in the cool of the morning or after watering. Soon you'll start noticing their telltale castings, those small, granular piles of nutrient-rich worm manure. But the arrival of worms is just the first step. The long-term benefits are where it's really at. These soil engineers get to work immediately, transforming your soil from the inside out. Their endless tunneling breaks up compacted ground, creating channels for air and water to get down to the roots. This improves drainage in heavy clay soils and helps sandy soils hold on to water. Their castings are a superfood for your plants, rich in available nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Over weeks and months, you'll physically see your soil change. It will get darker, crumblier, and hold moisture like a sponge. It will have that amazing earthy smell that every gardener knows is the sign of healthy, living soil. To keep this beautiful cycle going, you can reapply the diluted fermented rice water every couple of weeks during the growing season. This regular boost keeps the microbial party going and encourages the worms to stick around. Always apply it to the soil, not the leaves of your plants. This trick works wonders everywhere, in ground plots, raised beds, and even containers. For pots, where worms can't just move in from next door, this method creates the perfect environment to support worms if you decide to add some yourself from a bait shop or a friend's garden. So, will this attract pests? It's a fair question. By working the crushed rice into the soil and covering it with a bit of mulch, you make it much less appealing to rodents or other critters. The slightly sour, fermented smell of the rice water is attractive to microbes and worms, but not usually to pests. All right, now it's your turn. The difference between struggling soil and a stunning garden is often no more complicated than a handful of rice. I challenge you to try this yourself. Find a patch of your garden that needs some love, follow these simple steps, and just watch what happens. Give it a week, give it 2, then come back here and drop a comment below to share your story. Are you seeing more worms? Does your soil feel different? We want to hear all about it. Your experience could be the thing that inspires someone else to stop fighting their soil and start feeding it. And hey, if you found this guide helpful and want to learn more simple, powerful ways to bring your garden to life, make sure you subscribe. There's a whole world of wisdom hidden in plain sight, and we're here to uncover it together. Gardening doesn't have to be a constant battle. The most powerful solutions are usually the ones that work with nature, not against it, using simple ingredients to create a system that sustains itself. This rice trick is a perfect example. It isn't a chemical fix, it's a biological jumpstart. You're not just adding a fertilizer, you're rebooting an entire ecosystem in miniature. By turning a pantry staple into a feast for the microscopic life under our feet, we can invite nature's best gardeners, the earthworms, to do the heavy lifting for us. They'll aerate, fertilize, and build your soil into something rich, dark, and alive. This one simple habit can do more for the long-term health of your garden than most things you can buy in a store, and it costs next to nothing. Rebuilding life from the ground up is one of the most rewarding things a gardener can do. And sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of rice.